So still we are in the chapter 12, right? The book of Kadam, the chapter 12. Today, giving the example for all these twirling dependent origination. The twirling dependent originations are how the process of arising suffering, how we circling with the suffering and again, right? That's the process. And then giving example here, therefore, I'm going to read the example and then go to summary of this chapter 12, okay? Let's see. Again, the dwelling different origination. First one is like ignorance, right? Ignorance, then actions, and then that actions turn into the habit and consciousness, and then the five sense faculty, naming form, and then five sense faculties, and then contact and feeling, and then craving, and then grasping, then existence, death, birth, uh, and death and aging. So those 12. So it's giving example the how sense faculties are like, and then how feelings are like it. How looks like the feelings. Those are giving example. Yeah, say when the five senses meet with their object, um, it's kind of beginning from contact. This everything's beginning from contact. Contact means meeting with the object. That's between subject and object. Meeting of between subject and object. That's the saying here. The five senses meet with their object. This is given the name contact. And how it's like example is it's resembling kissing. It is said. And then on the basis of contact, feeling arises. And then how feelings looks like, right? From this feeling, there arises craving for appropriations and craving for relinquishing unhappiness. For instance, it's like giving example here. Feeling is like if an arrow stick your eyes. That's the how we feel it after we meet the contact, either pleasure or unpleasure. So it's feel like which is arrow put in eye contact. I mean the eyes. So it is impossible you want to feel it because as arrow put in the eye, it's impossible you know feel it. So same way, when you meet the contact, then any feeling will become like either pleasure or unpleasure. So like say when you meet with a contact and then the contact is more attractive, the desire comes, then pleasure, the pleasure feelings comes, then desires arises, then those other actions are arises, right? It says there. So it is impossible you want to feel it. This is the similar. Craving is like a drinking alcohol because he said through the detrimental, right? Detrimental in the long run, it tastes delicious. So, and mistaking it is delicious on imbibes again and again, like a plucking fruit from a tree. This first one is giving example for drinking alcohol is giving example for craving. Because once you one time drink it, then you want again and again. This is the alcohol made it. That's the you craving it. And then it says then like a plucking fruit from a tree, having a taste the first one and one pluck the next. So it's giving example for grasping. Now that craving is increases and then it's turned into the grasping that is not that just you like it, you want it and you want it now. So, and in this way, one become attached to it, and then crave it. Becoming is like the conception of a child. By words who engage in compilations, right? Accomplishments. When the time approaches, the child's source of mystery for her is born. On the basis of this birth, then yeah, okay, aging occurs, and then dependent upon the death follows, like the carrying crops. When you see the dwelling dependent origination, someone carrying the crops, that is the example for death and agings. This is the opposite of happiness. And then one more, the few lines here to the finalists. Master Broom, in this limitless circle of existence, those who are sing again and again, means like we are suffering again and again, right? In this, in the merit of afflictions with no escape, do not understand through the word of the wise. Therefore, even though I have spoken these challenging words to you, to wise, do not criticize the ignorant, pouring words into the fool's ears. This is similar to the story of the infant, right? Crawling toad, the age of Clave who was not stopped by the truth, with nothing in hand and merely calling out, little child. The wise one skillfully lead the child away. Here too, it is the afflictions, the samsara phenomena, which are the object of the abandonment for the wise. This is the seventh collections on dependent origination. Okay, so this chapter actually does have like two different sections. The first sections has what called, I think, seventh collections, and then second section has a ninth collections. So that this chapter called how to host your robes to the cross the Mires of desire, means like how we can overcome by suffering and how we can cross um, the oceans which is reaching the happiness, right? And then it has a two kind of sections. So just let me repeat. The first sections has a either you call the collections or we'll call it chapter or like yeah, it's lessons. We can say okay, collections. We use here the collections. Okay, the seven collections, right? The first collections talks actually the more Buddhist part, the refuge and bodhicitta, and then the doing six provisions are important. That's the basics. And then second collections called for having those practice, you must accumulate merit to get more energy, positive energy. For that, you must be respect or be repaying kinds to your parents and all those the teacher and Buddhas. And then after that, chapter third is talking about then you try to more practice generosity or giving or offering without any associated with any stinginess. Um, then the chapter fourth talks about purifications and then rejoicing, requesting, like to teaching and requesting be a long life, and then dedications. So chapter third and chapter second is we call sorry, the chapter second, third, fourth are we call seven link dependent originations, right? The seven limbs are which is prostration, and then offering, purifications, and then rejoicing, requesting teaching, and then requesting be a long life, and then dedications are. Those seven limb are the practice for uh, uh, a Buddhist term is accumulating merit. If I use it more secular, it's like getting more positive energy. So those practice talks by chapter second, third, fourth, and then chapter like a collection fifth, and then sixth and seventh. Collection sixth is beginning from what is the cause for we are circling or having suffering. Then say it's ignorance, right? So therefore, uh, chapter fifth talks more like ignorance, and then actions, which is arises from ignorance. The process that between ignorance to actions, and then so many other thoughts are there, right? But here the this is the first tooling, first um, two of the dependent originations um, within the link. So the ignorance and then actions, that talks chapter fifth, and then chapter sixth talks about the consciousness, which is like I can use here as term that habit, right? The actions turn into the habit. The ignorance lead you have some actions. That actions turn into the habit. When it's turned into the habit, then it's very difficult to stop it, and then it continuously causes us to have suffering or some problem, right? So that's chapter fifth, chapter six, and then the reason chapter seven, the last one, is talks about the rest of the dwelling dependent origination from name and form to death and agings. Those are talks there. These are the first sessions which talks which collect have seventh collections, right? And then next, which we I think maybe I don't know, we skipped it or we talked it. So actually, the it has nine collections. So those nine collections actually talks about the dependent origination and emptiness, right? Dependent origination and emptiness, and then first some chapter talks the emptiness, some chapter talks the dependent origination, some chapter talks like how can go together with the dependent origination and emptiness. So that's the ninth chapter. Have a nine collections. All those nine collections talks the main essence things is um, uh, there's emptiness, but it functioning because it's dependent origination. That kind of things. Main thing and talks about emptiness, right? So in a briefing here, um, at the beginning from like what is the cause of all suffering, and then say ignorance, right? And then ignorance arises those mental afflictions and negative thoughts and negative intention. Negative intention arises all these different kind of actions. Then the experience comes. So then how we can eliminate or how we can overcome by the cause of the suffering, which is the root cause of the suffering, is ignorance, right? So it's asking both question, how overcome by suffering, as we're asking here, how overcome by a cause of suffering. Because once you overcome by a cause of suffering, and then you are never experience the suffering, or less, or like lighter suffering, right? So therefore, it's important in our daily life, if we really wants to overcome by suffering, must analyze the what's the rooted or main cause of those suffering, and then very difficult to reach the deep way to finding the cause of suffering. But in our daily life, we're finding many causes and condition of our daily suffering, but these are not really deep and rooted. and then seed, right? As well as seed is there, no matter how you try to avoid or eliminating that temporary cause and conditions, you still will be suffering. Similarly, that if you want to clean that tree in front of your gardens, it's not help you to cut branches, right? You must need to cut the root. Once you cut the root, then tree is gone forever. So what we try to do is we'll always try to, the cutting the branches which we see is the bad things, or which is temporarily disturbing us. That branches we cut it, then it grows again, and again disturbing, again grows is again disturbing. So therefore, whatever we found the cause and conditions of suffering is it's like branches, and then it's how much you cut it it's not really helpful you forever come and then not have suffering, right? So therefore, we always try to cut the root uh, in order to overcome by suffering. Um, it's talk the big idea, but you can split it like an individual suffering, right? Say individual suffering, say feel loneliness and then find it out what is the root cause of feel loneliness, right? And then again, here saying root cause of feel loneliness is ignorance and self-centeredness. And once you try to deal with it or reduce it or subdue the ignorance and self-centeredness, then you will free from the suffering of feel loneliness, right? So this is the cause. But when we cutting the branches means here, when we feel the suffer of feel loneliness, then what we try to do is, the sleeping or listening music or go outside. Those are kind of cutting branches. It's not help forever. At the moment, it might help, right? But it comes back again, that suffer of the feel loneliness, then you have to deal with again and again. And then every single you try to deal with it, it's not really works. So therefore, here talks about the self-centeredness and ignorance is the main root of every single suffering. Then it should be root of the suffering of feel loneliness. So once you try to cut this, then you will be overcome by it, right? And then remedy for those uh, cutting the ignorance or eliminating is two kind of remedy talks here. The one remedy we already talked like with the details, which is the dwelling dependent origination, understanding it and meditating again and again on it. So another remedy is emptiness. I'm not sure which we going to escape or top. It's like a nine collection. Again, it goes long. So so therefore, these two remedy that we need to or wisdom that need to understand to eliminating or subduing those the cause of suffering, the root of the suffering. So we can try to meditate on dwelling dependent origination. It's one of the remedy here talks, and then we also study with the details. Um, those the meditating means whatever you understand, you slowly thinking and try to feel it. That's the part of the meditation, right? It's not really have a different way to do it. Whatever we learn, just think more slowly and better at observing on it and feeling it. That's the meditation, right? So therefore, we not usually when we give lecture, we not talk separately how to meditate. because whatever we're talking, that's what do you have to think it. And then just slow and with a strong observe concentration and then feeling. That makes you different. Instead of we talk fast and you that way you have what do you hear it, and then that's the you have information. Okay, first is this, second is this, third is this, and this and that. You have just information. That information, now you go back and sit down and think carefully. Okay, what is ignorance? And said ignorance, this and that. And then find it within your daily habit and daily actions. Oh yeah, that's thought is. They're talking about the ignorance. Then how ignorance lead the actions. And then you can think any action in our daily activities. So it's lead by some kind of intentions or thought, as we talked last time, right? Um, uh, Almost any actions leaded by thought. The most of actions. So whether you realize or not realize, or you cease or not cease, that's the next difference. Otherwise, it is led by thoughts, any actions. Last time I give you example, we are standing up, we are sitting down. So before you standing up, before you sit down, check your mind. You have a thought that I want to stand up, I want to sit down. That you will see it, right? So it's led by all these thoughts, and thought is associated with ignorance and attachment and those mental afflictions, right? So, so this is the how action ignorance lead the actions, and then actions um, turn into the habit, and whenever your five sense consciousness contact to the any object or meeting with any object. And this is the first step to um, beginning having the suffering experience. So the moment when you contact, right? So, but that contact is based on the ignorance and the habits, right? The contact based on like a there's either negative thought or positive thought, but you are not really take action yet. So action will be leaded by the contact actually, right? So again, let's see, your eyes see some beautiful the flower, and then same time feelings how beautiful it is kind of pleasures, right? And then that's the how begin it. And then once the feeling pleasures that let you arise, it arises the attachment, right? Expectations or something else. So that feeling, that's the feeling, would you lead it to action or not? You have a control at the moment, but it will lead it some kind of expectation or attachment, right? Then the cravings. Sorry, the feeling lead to the craving, because the feeling, a pleasure feeling, will have some kind of expectation and attachment. That the craving, right? Craving turn into the grasping that you want to now and this and that. Then it's you taking actions. So those actions based on um, the craving and grasping, then you will forget that flower is belongs to your neighbors, that you plucked it, right? Because the grasping. And then all the problems comes, right? Because you plucked it, the flower from neighbor's yard. So this is the process, right? So now we can go back to see can think slowly those dwelling dependent origination. Um, Maybe I try to lead you guide, and then you can think, right? Um, and see what after that what happening to us. So, okay, so now we can begin from our breath, right? So, usually how you meditate, you can take same gesture or posture, and then so make your calm mind with a 3 time deep breath in from nose and out from mouth, 3 time, and take deep breath. Then you can analyze a little bit the breath I'm taking in and out. Is it rely on what? Does it depend on what? Right? And that breath, this breath is depend on my body. It's my body conditioning to having this breath. And also it's depend on my mind. My both mind and bodies being conditioned to having this breath in and out. Now you are focusing on both breath and then source of that breath or basis of this breath, body and mind, which is conditioning of to having this breath. Then you can further analyze this body and mind. What is the potential to being conditioned to have breath in and out? And then seeing this body and mind associated with the life, right? So therefore, the body and mind being conditioned to take breath in and out. So that means the body and mind depend on the life. And that life is depend on parents. So this is my life, that my body is totally being conditioned from my parents, as well as mine is comes in within my parents. So now you can begin from the birth. That's how once you have the body and mind, which can condition it to be have to take breath in and out, which is associated with the life. Now that life, body and mind, the conditioned by parents when take birth. So and then um, once we in mother womb, and then our sense five slowly it's turning into the that how the body and minds arises, right? That body and minds in the mother wombs from jellies that slowly grows, and then slowly become a form, and having those form with feeling, discrimination thoughts, compositional factor, and so on, the name and form that arises. And it continues grows. You can imagine that. It's you in the mother wombs that your continuous grows slowly, and then five sense faculties arises now, becoming five sense faculties. When they have five sense faculties, at the same time, five sense consciousness also be coming within it. And not yet you meet with any object. It just arises five sense faculties and five sense consciousness. So now slowly you are each sense consciousness, five sense consciousness meeting with their own object. For example, eye consciousness meeting with the form, ear consciousness meeting with the sound, and nose consciousness meeting with the smell, and then body consciousness meeting with the contact, like I mean, like touchings, tangible things, right? And then tongue consciousness meeting with the taste. This is how we grows. Once your body consciousness meet with their own object, tangible things, then feeling arises, either like a smooth or rough, cool or hot. That that body consciousness meet with a cool, very cold, uh, meet with the object of cool, then feeling is suffering. As well as meeting with the object hard, same feeling is suffering. Then thought is arises, uncomfortable, disliking, or kind of anger. So when that body is consciousness meeting with the pleasure or smooth, tangible, tangible things with meeting the smooth or warm, then feeling arises, the pleasure feeling arises. When pleasure feeling arises, then you want be this again. You craved it. You attach it. You're having attachment on it, craving on it, because it's pleasure. Once you're craving on it, when you have a strong desire and attachment on it, that lets you have a thought that wanting again and again. I want it again. This smooth and warm the feeling, which is pleasures. That pleasure feeling, that having mind that wanting again and again. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you do not have it. Once you do not have it, as you expect it strong through by the attachment, then you feel more suffer. And then once you have it, that attachment will be increases more further, become more stronger. That's turned into the grasping that you want every day and every moment. Just not I want it. Every moment I want this pleasure. Every day I want this pleasure. That much your expectation growth because your attachment increases. That craving turn into the grasping. Then you will try to get it every day and every moment, many different ways. And reality is clear that it's not happening every time. But our expectation, our hope, our desire sees it will happening every day because it's associated with ignorance. This is how our expectation and attachments comes every moment. I want pleasure. And then when it's not have it, then you will have aversions, anger. That anger lead you different kind of actions, wrathful actions, which is cause of another suffering. And when you try to have this pleasure every moment and every day, make it happen, you try to make it happen. While you're trying, your mind is strong associated with the desire and attachment. And then you keep trying, many different way, whether negative actions or positive actions, whatever actions we will feel that are willing to do that for having this pleasure every moment. While you're taking actions again, it's turned into a lot of cause of suffering because you don't care to harm the other, just doing it. So this is the one part you can meditate within view of this dwelling dependent origination. Again, if we continues connected with the life, then say the above one is you can go with the both the baby or after you birth, after you become adults, all this process are similarly goes, right? That contact brings you feeling, feeling brings you craving or aversions, anger, or some other thoughts. That turn into if the craving is turned into grasping, it increases either attachment or anger. Once it increases, then you will take action existence. This is this process either in mother womb baby or after birth baby or adult. The process goes same, but it could be more suffer when we become adult from teenagers than to adult. That process will bring more suffering um, compared to this baby. So then slowly, as we're taking actions, and we take birth, so after we take birth, then you can also think that process of up to the death. So after we birth and we grows, right? And it's turned into the aging. It's sudden, but we do not know that's happening with us because of that thoughts, everything's associated with the ignorance. So otherwise you can think after birth, it's definitely having agings. All the strength of body, power of body, immune system, everything is changed, getting more weaker and weaker and weaker. Outside skin, inside, all this um what do you call all the inside things are getting more vigorous, and then skins are getting more like more sensitive or so on. That the becoming aging, and this is the certain process to having it if we have long life. Then final death comes. Again, we always giving hope and confidence that death will not come until 80, I'm becoming 80-year old or 90 or 100. If you know the death impermanence to how to meditate, that you can use for it. This is the whole process. Few way you can think, but you can constantly, repeatedly think that from contact to actual actions, existence, right? The contact, feeling, craving, grasping, Grasping makes you take actual actions. Without actions turn into the negative or positive, whatever, the more suffering will becomes. So this process you can repeat again, think every day. That's try to realize how we grows and what is the process for having suffering or different type of experience, right? Um, so it will be slowly realize ourselves and realize what is the nature, and we'll realize things that you cannot escape and avoid it. Once you realize those, then it makes you really easy and calms. So this is the point doing this meditation. Okay. Yeah, I'm not lead the meditation the way that we Buddhist way to do it, to ending dependent knowledge, right? So we meditate forwarding each cause, how is cause to next result, and that cause how to produce the next results, go up to the death and agings, and then we sometimes meditate reverse. Okay, the death comes from aging. Aging comes from birth. The birth comes from existence. Existence comes from grasping. That comes from craving and feeling and contact and up to the ignorance. So we reverses. That's one way to meditate. And then another way, again, say, when I stopped ignorance, then that all this the actions will be stopped it. When I stop that, then habit consciousness will be stopped it. And when I stop that, and then next I stopped it. That's the one way to think, right? Meditate slowly. That's forward again, and then backward, reverse, and then say the death is stopped by aging. Aging is stopped by birth, and birth is aging by existence and go after the ignorance. Poor way to meditate. The Buddhist uh, like a practitioner, they meditate with a four different way. You know, the first we can um, yeah, how to arises and how to stop it, right? That's two things. And how to arises is forward and reverse. How to stop and forward and reverse. If you think again and again, it's help us realize actually the samsara or what naturally happening is. It makes you more aware, brings you more awareness, right? What really happening in our daily life. Um, this is the makes finding the happiness or try to eliminate the cause of suffering. Once you feel that, then you might be more having like a the mind that disgusting in this life or disgusting in samsara. So then once you have that, then we need to feel again brings you some kind of changeable things. Otherwise, just having disgusting is again is suffering. So, but it will bring you up to that when you think this again and again, and when you realize nature and your life, then you will not see the essence falls, right? Just life is not essence falls. If you use it, that's meaningful. It's essential. The life essence is every potential that you use or not use. That's different, right? It's not that you have it or not have it. So you have it or not have it makes you different. Therefore, it's not really counted the essence of life. The essence of life is whatever you have a potential or quality that you use it, then it's becoming more meaningful life. That's how different. Okay. So, what do you think about this meditation type? Yeah, please go ahead. Uh-huh.
I have a question about the whole wheel of dependent origination.
Uh-huh.
It's always been curious to me that that the cycle ends with birth rather than beginning with birth,
Hmm.
and that right after birth, there's a discussion of aging rather than the aging being preceding death.
Hmm.
So it just seems not quite logical to me. Can you
I
speak to
understand,
that, please?
understand. So when we study dwelling dependent origination, we split it two lifetime. So therefore, the death birth is come way after that, right? So and then you do not see between any process between death and like a birth, because just birth and next death and aging. Death and aging always counted as one, not separate. So this comes just after birth, and you do not see what other process between these, but you go same way. So they split it the two lifetime or three lifetime, and then sometimes we also split it the cause part and result part, which is the cost. Yeah, cause part is always everything's happening. Like for example, if we believe that next life, right? So if split with the next life, every single cause are collecting this life. Then that life result is the birth. It comes in next life. But this life birth is result of the previous life. And then the cause, all the six cause are already collected in the previous life. Then right now we having result of the previous lives, the karmas, ignorance, right? And same time, this life we are creating new karma with the ignorance, and then it comes next. So that makes you complicate. You didn't see the logic because it's not the process continues going the one lifetime. Yeah, yeah, okay. Uh,
The 12 link says the when you go forward as the first two noble truths and backwards as the third and fourth noble truth.
You can use that, yeah. I don't know the second two noble truth. The cessations. They said it cessation when we reverse, it stopped, right? Um, I think it's difficult to understand. In general, yes, this is how I say this. The path is the way we would meditate with by stopping things is path, and then arising things is the first two noble truth is yeah. And then those actually the tooling dependent origination is extensively explaining of the first two noble truth between suffering and the cause of suffering, right? The origin of suffering, how it's worked, how it's related, what is the process to goes the origin of suffering to the suffering. This is and then it's elaborating more on this to life, yeah. This is the wheel that you can see the door that next to the door wheel. So you can see every details in there, what we talked, and examples are there. Yeah. Okay. So other remedy is emptiness now. What are we going to do to cutting the root of ignorance, which is we say self-grasping. Okay, what we talks about self-grasping, that I use here the self-ego. Yeah, this is the what we need to cut it. As well as your self-ego, then all this comes. And then if you really want to stop, then either you have to actually realize the self-ego is wrong, or self-ego could be eliminated, or try to less self-ego. That's that makes you defend your experience in life, either suffering or happiness. Right? Okay.
Will you review that?
Which one?
Emptiness.
Reviewing on. Okay. Um, Part of understanding emptying path is not difficult. After you make empty, but still something there. That's the makes understanding difficult. The emptiness difficult means yeah, like when we analyze, then you will not find anything, any object. Once you analyze in any object, finally you will not find anything. But the danger is same time you might lose this object, or you might turn into nihilism, or this object should not exist, or you might it makes you more confused that and then how come that objects are functioning, but you say it's not founding it, you say it's not true or not founding it, but it's really we see it and we can touch it. Then how come it's not true? How come it's not founding it? So these two things, is exists and empty. Exists and empty goes together. That part is difficult. So because we already have that ignorance, self-grasping, that makes us questioning that we seize it, we can touch it, or not just me, everyone can seize it, everyone can touch that, we use commonly, or it's functional exactly, but why are you saying it's not founding it? Right? This is the part of the emptiness, understanding emptiness. If you really, really wants to understand emptiness, you cannot destroy that every single dependent origination. You cannot destroy every existent things, every existence, right? If you destroying all this existence through by when you're meditating on emptiness, then that emptiness is not emptiness. It's real empty. It's not the emptiness, that part of the remedy, right? It's not the wisdom. It's ignorance again, right? Once you meditate and turning into the more empty, totally empty zero, then it's ignorant again, because turn into the nihilism, which is not right. That view is not right, because it's not the nihilism, right? So we have to walk between these two, when you understand emptiness. And therefore, sometimes it's helpful us to understanding that actually what we're looking is use the term of middle path instead of emptiness. Emptiness is becoming more empty, right? So middle path means what is true stream then, and what is middle, right? So once you try to find the middle path instead of emptiness, it would be better if you use the term. So middle path always let you think if you fall in one stream, nihilism, that's not the middle path. This is the other side of stream. And when you fall in the other side of stream, which is eternalism, what do you call? What's absolutely? Yeah, what is absolutely? Then is the other side of the stream, right? We have to find the reality between nihilism and absolutism.
I think it's eternalism or absolutism.
Okay, eternalism or absolutely, yeah. So between nihilism and eternalism, we have to find this is the things, right? Not nihilism, not eternalism, right? Not absolutely. So then you're not destroying this 100%, but you're destroying some part. So this is how we found actual reality of this iPad, actual reality of my body, actual reality of myself, right? So the myself, the reality of myself is lack of independent existence, and same as this iPad, same as my body, right? And lack of independent existence means it's middle path. It's lack of independent existence. It's not the lack of existence, right? So that makes two different, right? If you think it's lack of existence, that's turn into nihilism. But lack of independent existence, then you should more focus that part of independent means not only focus on existence or not existence. That's yeah.
Isn't the that cycle of dependent origination a good tool to use?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we're
Mm,
talking about simply trying to address our own ego,
mhm,
useful, I would think of being dependent on many different things or aspects or people for everything in our lives.
mhm.
And then ego becomes less and less important.
Yes, yes. Because when you meditate emptiness, the solid absolutely will break it. You will not see everything absolute and solid. And that's why we'll see oh, no reason to have attachment, no reason to have anger. That's the way how we reduce the self-ego. Yeah.
Just falls.
It automatically falls away once you realize the actual wisdom. Yeah. So that's just always keep in your mind whenever you study the ultimate reality of every existence, um, the middle path, middle way. So you should understand true stream, right? And then there's not nihilism and not eternalisms. So once you understand that, then when you look at, when you meditate, then like actually you will find a lot of question for your own self because oh you shouldn't be nihilism, right? But still you ask that if self is not there and who is meditating, that's you should know it's nihilism. You are your mind goes into the nihilism. You fall in a one stream. Therefore, you're asking question. If self is not there, who is meditating? Right? Once you ask this question, you think I fall in one of the stream, which is nihilism. Therefore, you question that, right? So yeah, it is. How long we study, how long we. I'm not really like constantly meditate on it. Sometime, um, but it's still difficult. So. It's something there like this is the two things makes me a lot of help to to explain to you guys say someone say is there but it's not there. This is help, right? Is there or is not there. And then Osho said Buddhist nothing is everything. So that's too is like some kind of help us to find it out the emptiness, right? Nothingness is everything. It's there but it's not there. See then what is really talking about it. Okay. So it's really usually I suggested that instead of you directly meditating on emptiness, try to find more subtle dependent origination, which is seeing everything is just concept or merely name. This is not emptiness, but once you understand that part, then emptiness easy for you, right? Just concept. You're not destroying everything, but you're not taking it as absolute. It's just concept, right? Yes, please.
It seems to me that we're talking about just being open-minded and not so rigid in my assumptions of things.
Yeah, this is how we need to begin, right? But use logic and definitely, yeah, we need to open-minded and then follow the reasoning to understand what is exactly talking about, right? So we're giving reason. This is that because of this. This is that because of this. Then when you say because of this, that reason that you should take a lot of analysis to understand what the statement is, right? So maybe could you found it? Maybe could you not? Maybe you will not found it. This is depend on your effort and your time, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the dependent origination, subtle dependent origination is, um, again, I'm not asking you or suggest you directly meditate on subtle dependent origination. Maybe we always begin from gross level of dependent origination, right? Whenever we see the flower outside, the tree, house, human being, whatever we see, immediately we try to think, oh, these are produced by cause. These are produced by cause, right? This and that. Everything is produced by cause. That's part we need to lot of think again and again and need to understand clear that every impermanence phenomena are produced by a cause. They are impossible, something there exists without produced by a cause. That part we need to understand. Again, it will take not that take long time, but it will take time to understand everything, right? Instead of, oh, it's there, right? What we see when we walked, we see rock, we see road, we see car. In our mind, describing it's just there, is there, right? And then once we say it's there, it means it's independently there. This is how we feel it, how we viewing it. But it's in order to break that, oh, the cause, car is there, which is produced by company, and each part collecting together. And takes time for creating each part, right? And putting it together. And then now one becoming one, which we call car. Otherwise, it has a lot of part and then a lot of work. Every single things. That's how become a car. You can analyze little bit, everything what you see is it. Like I said, tree. It's not the way there in just night, right? So, but we feel that it's there just night, that big tree. So it grows with a seed, small seed, right? And then it grows a little bit and takes many years. Then we see the big tree. The every years, every cause, every sunrise, every water, all this condition, cause and condition, get that big tree, we see it. So you should analyze again when you see the tree, okay, that's not just there over by night. It's there long period, was very small, was just seed, and then slowly grows and slowly grows and slowly grows. Now we see the big. Just analyze that. That's how you are analyzing or try to understanding gross level of dependent origination, right? Do it many times. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, the one thing that when I'm reading, I'm thinking about, they're talking about inherent, existence, and
Mm-hmm.
if you take something like a car, you break it down into its parts, and then you break those parts down into other parts and parts and parts. They're talking about they don't seem to believe in the smallest part.
Single
Just keeps on getting
atoms.
more and more parts, and
Yeah.
and there's no end necessarily end to that. That breaking down. So there's not, it's like, okay, well, there's the existent part. Just keeps on getting to smaller parts.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Is that what the
This is the one way to analyze it, to finding the fundamental of every existence. Yeah. And then we say there are no fundamental, right? There are no fundamental, there are no basis. Every existence, and there are no basis, then there are no fundamental. So this is a way to analyze, to finding the fundamental and basis. When you see there are no basis, no fundamental, then just name. When we see the big things, just name or concept, right? So this is one way to analyze. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, That's the
Yeah. Mhm.
Examples of meditation on subtle dependent origination? For meditation, when you say subtle.
Subtle dependent origination is finding everything is just concept, right? This is one way that what he mentioned, one way to meditate, analyze, to founding the fundamental of iPad, right?
Isn't that gross? That's gross, isn't it?
This is gross, but we're founding the fundamental. The fundamental is not gross. So that you have to break it. You have to break it, right? And then this totally is not the fundamental. You know, subtle understanding the subtle dependent origination is not necessary that you should go with a subtle object, right? You can keep the big tree, huge tree, and understand that tree is just name. The one way to analyzing is making distinguish between the tree itself and name, right? The first step. And that's more easy for us because the label giving tree after it grows, right? So it's not comes with it. We just label after that. Um, so this is the first step. Then you are go with the foundation, which the basis which we call tree, the object of designation which we call tree, right? That is the wood, see the yellow or something that, but it has a name, something wood or branch or color. Each has a name, and every single things when you see the name immediately try to separating between this name and the object of designation. Separate it, separate it, separate it, separate it. Whatever you're finding, then you're splitting, right? How much you split it is something that you recognize. It should be have a name up to single atom, right? It has a name. Even single atoms bracts still have a name. Until it has a name, you separate it, that object of designation, and then the name what's designating. This is the way we founding, and then the actually absolute things, solid things, what we think is break it, break it, break it, then it will disappear, but name remaining continues, either single atom or big tree, it will remaining it. This is how we use it. This is how we identifying it. This is how we recognize it, the tree or single atom, right? So then that's you can think that one way to meditating on understanding of a subtle dependent origination. Yeah, but it's good to also good to beginning from gross level of dependent origination. What we did today, twirling dependent origination, cause, result, cause, result, cause, result, right? So those is gross level of dependent origination. You can take it. It's a benefit both understanding gross level of dependent origination and same time understanding what is natural and what is life, right? So and then how cause us how experience suffering in our life. So, so therefore, this is the suggestion. Every single thing you see is just not just observe and say, oh, it's there. Take immediately a little bit analyze, right? It's there, but not just today, not just yesterday. It's long. And then beginning from seed, it's cause, and then there. So this makes a habit to seize that way. Every single things, it's when you see immediately you breaking it. Nazi uses solid and absolutely big things there, right? Once you become a habit, immediately you break it. Oh, it's solid, not really solid. It's cause and condition and long period. So that's breaking your ignorance a little bit, right? So we just we're viewing everything absolutely or solid. Then we see it's not really solid. It's not absolute. Then go next middle end of dependent origination, right? It's also not the cause and condition. It's also depend on its own part, right? So body, say it's depend on hand, the lung, and everything's together that we call body. The body is depend on so many things, its own part. Understanding is not only the cause and condition, also understanding is depend on their own parts. That is again the we can take as middle understanding middle end of dependent origination. So once you know that depend on its own part, then once you break it, then you will understand the subtle level of dependent origination. Then we can go to emptiness. Not right away on the emptiness. It's a lot of complicated. Does this make sense? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you try it, and every day in your daily whatever you see, you see like a one of us, like a big grows from baby, right? And then grows from mother womb, and then grows from the small jelly, just settle consciousness, and then just form like this. This is how it grows. Huh?
Based on the conversation we were having, the seed
Mhm.
turns into plant, turns into tree. But you say a couple lives, would you say then but the seed came from the previous tree? Like that's.
If you want to further
the
analyze,
previous
yeah,
tree,
you can do that. Seeds comes from where?
the previous.
Yeah,
tree,
yeah,
That's the karma of that tree. If that tree wouldn't exist, and that seed wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Reverse.
Yeah, it's everything's depend on other
Right.
cause and condition, other cause and
And then the
condition.
other thing is, and maybe, you can, when we're talking about breaking things down, is that analyzing the chariot from the long run discussion. It's pretty much the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Is that what we're doing when we're saying we're analyzing the chariot? You're breaking down the chariot.
Yeah, this is one way to do it. This is, I think, directly meditating on selflessness. Taking this as example and try to understand that their self is not truly existence.
Okay.
That's the how meditating.
Okay.
It's not the part of dependent origination. Yeah. So yeah, I forget this. Something comes in my mind. I forget it. Anyhow, that's fine. So okay, yeah, I understand. Sometime we seize the begin, and then further we cannot find the cause and condition. For example, Big Bang, right? So then there are no cause and condition. It might be not cause and condition because this is the begin from everything, right? So, but we Buddhists believe even the Big Bang has a cause and condition. And I'm not sure that I heard that now they said the Big Bang is something comes from something else. I don't know. They're saying that. They're saying the earlier they said Big Bang is the beginning part. Now they see further. It's proving that what this Buddhist belief. Something else. It's definitely is cause and condition. So sometimes you stuck somewhere that there are no cause and condition as you brings the seed. So then uh, that you should ask question then where it's come from if there are no cause and condition, right? Um, the the creating is different issue. So right, so what we're looking in reality physically or the reality is different things. So we are more analyzing what we can touch and what we can see. So kind of more scientific, right? If you analyze more scientific, then it might be cause and condition part of that. Yeah. Okay. So any question online?
No, but thank you very much. This was a super excellent class. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, Geshe, I have a quick
Uh-huh.
question.
Please.
Can you hear? Okay. Interesting. Yeah, very, very good class. And for the first time, I'm not objecting in my mind to the concept of breaking things down into their parts and not finding the basis in the parts. But you're still saying that we do find that everything breaks down into smaller parts. What you're saying is the basis or the foundation will never be found because we'll always go smaller and smaller, and we will not find the object in the sum of the parts. Is that correct?
Yeah, there are no basis.
There's no
There are no
basis.
fundamental, yeah.
Okay, but there is dependence upon the parts, correct?
Yeah.
So it will not be found independent of the parts is fine. But let's take an example, the second of the 12 dependent originations, the second one, volition. And if we carefully look at volition, it's sort of like choice or intention, or we might even incorrectly use a synonym, will, but intention or something like that. If volition is dependent upon ignorance, if volition is dependent upon the previous,
Volition, you're talking about karma?
I'm talking about the 12,
Second one, right?
the second one, the 12 points of
Okay, it's
independent
action, yeah, huh?
action. Oh, I thought
Mhm.
it was volition. Okay. So if this action is dependent upon on ignorance, then whatever volition we experience or intention to do an action we experience is based on ignorance. We could never say we really have free will. We are always going to be acting upon our appropriated or our innate suppositions, our biases, our prejudices, our ignorance. And so whatever we do, we don't really have free will. It is determined already by the previous link of dependent origination, which is in this case ignorance. So could you say we do not have free will until we are free of ignorance? Is that correct? So everything is predetermined. Everything we're about to do is already determined by the things that have come before it, the karmic seeds that exist in our mind prior to our action.
It is, yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much for this class. This is amazing.
Okay.
And I guess you could say that's is samsara. That
Yeah,
this is
what
why
we
we
call
can't,
samsara, yeah.
and the only way to get out of it is to not be born, to free ourselves of all the karmic stains. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw this out while there are other people in the room and listening online. I think it could be very useful to devote a series of teachings on this topic, maybe a retreat with meditations. How do the rest of you feel about that?
You mean the emptiness? Oh, okay, I see. Oh, you mean retreat on it? Retreat?
A series of regular teachings.
Yeah, that's fine. Right now, Lamrim, the Tuesday class, well, we stopped it actually, because Geshe is not available, and then, my time is not enough.
But Geshe, we have
Uh-huh.
we have the chapter 9 on Thursday.
Yeah, yeah, that's chapter 9. Thursday is talking emptiness,
Yeah.
and Lamrim is emptiness too. So we actually talking on it. But not like a summary. Today is just summary, right? It just make a brief or essence that I take it. If we learn emptiness with the more reasoning, then a lot of complicating things there that we're doing in Thursday and one of Thursday and Tuesday, yeah.
But what I'm suggesting is learning about how to not only understand, but be able to use the ideas in dependent origination.
Yeah, that we can do, definitely. We can do it. Yeah. So what I can take your suggestion or request is I can take as like we can more summary to Thursday class and Tuesday class. This is how I can take it. Yeah, sure. Okay, so yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, because we're talking about basis. I mean, like something more so common as like the circumference of a circle, we haven't even figured out. Look, the number pi, we
Uh-huh.
don't know where cannot calculate the end of it. So it seems to be very similar in that sense.
Oh, I see.
You know, I
Okay.
mean, they can't get to the end of the number.
Uh-huh. I see.
Yeah, just a thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't even do 2/3.
Right, well, yeah.
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 Can't even come up with a ground number.
Yeah, for youth, teenager, young children, when I talk emptiness, I use ground zero. The ground zero, the fundamental is zero. And I talk by number, So, and then how much related with the zero, that much value it, right? But not necessarily zero is there every time, right? 1,111. You do not see any zero, but without zero, it cannot become a 100, 1,000, right? Zero fundamental there. This is the fundamental. Fundamental is zero. That's it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You mean the Wednesday class? So far we do have only the Wednesday class for meditations, and I lead it, and then now Chappelle leading it been long time. Yeah. So what your expectation of the intermediate, like some kind of breathing meditation or general meditation or some individual meditation? Oh, okay, okay. Wednesday is continuous going there. So is there any people coming on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Chappelle's leading it. Okay, okay. Uh-huh. I see. So if you have any like separate requests, we can have based on that we can think. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And then next we're going to begin from chapter 13. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Have a